Okay, we're live. So, good evening, everybody, and welcome to TFC's Open Mic Season 2, Episode 36. What did I title this one? I titled this one, Take Charge of Those TLCs. First and foremost, good evening all that's decided to log in on chats. So, welcome to everybody. Moderators on the chat there. We've got Wayne, we've got Ford, we've got Jeff. Okay, so that's a good start, isn't it? And for those that have got a mic, welcome across the panel there. Clearly what we've got, let's have a quick look then. We've got Rums in the house, we've got Peter in the house, we've got Merry Winds in the house, Hefe's in the house, Imri's back, and we've got Brian. Welcome all, how are we?
Good.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you, YouTube notification, for telling me that TFC is live right now. I think I already know that.
Yeah. I'm running the show. It's just told me the same thing too. So yeah, interesting week, don't you think? In some respects,
Lots of TLCs again.
So.
Yeah, I some timely TLCs. I mean, we can have a little chat about some of them, that sort of stuff. Some good, some not so good. But no, let's not say some not so good. I think some, if you have done them once, there's absolutely probably little benefit of doing them again. But we can have a little look for them anyway. So what we got at the moment, I mean, bearing in mind that some of them are 2-week-long ones as well, and some of them are really, really short. So the short one, obviously, is the defensive arts, which I think is probably the first one to talk about, if you don't mind. Who's impressed at the fact that without getting a load of crap, they're actually giving us some charge armors for virtually, reasonable damage? Would you agree?
Absolutely.
If you know how to drive, yeah.
Yeah, if you know, no more puns at Paul Liam, because I think he's been getting the neck in the last couple of weeks, I must admit. But yeah, I'm quite impressed with this and timely release. Not only is it giving you stuff for at least to chuck something on a couple of more of your ships to go into this, obviously this Tec-Store Raid, which is coming up obviously in 5 days' time, but also to have a look at some of the explosive stuff that you may need actually in the subsequent one. So I'm quite impressed, to be honest.
It could have been just a little more timely for the people that don't coin to put them on their boats. So they could have done it last week and give people a chance to refit multiple on their boats instead of making them wait.
Yeah, you're probably right. Hello, Patrick. How you doing?
Howdy, Patrick.
Yeah, no, you're probably right. Maybe last week, but there was a lot going on last week as well. And so, there is no perfect time. Apart from the time, and I'm not going to be a bit skeptic here, that if you want to get this thing up and running, you might need to coin a couple of things. I'm for the other skeptics. So, so yes, it's nice to have some bits and bobs there, and I'm hoping. I mean, we won't say too much about it now, but I'm hoping some people are choosing to, if they can, save some of those tokens from the FM, from the second run anyway, from this week, and then you'll be able to use them obviously to build a first blank of whatever else is coming in the next well, we know what's coming as well, which is something we're going to talk about with this new flagship for the sloth. But you can either put some tokens towards one of those and have it as a blank for the VXP weekend. Not that you'll need to if you've been collecting your mega hull VXP tokens, or it could be for the new whatever raid ship that's coming out for the next cycle. So there's options, isn't there?
Yeah, I'm going to be stockpiling mine for the next ship.
Do we have any idea what the next ship is? Again, they're getting farther and farther between giving us information about what's coming. I mean, we've got the information on the sloth, but nothing else.
We've got some information on the sloth. I mean, a speedy sloth. There's a contradiction in terms, isn't it?
Sure.
The fiery sloth.
Yeah.
But I was actually meaning other boats, other types of boats.
We did get a picture of for the announcement for the raid. They showed us a picture of a sub.
Yeah, it looked like a catfish gone wrong.
Yeah.
Question is that going to be the skill hull for the next raid arc, or is it going to be one of the NPC ships? That's what I'd like to know.
That's a good question, but generically the fact that obviously it's going to be concussive and it should be explosive, shouldn't it? It'd be nice to have, bearing in mind what we've been using, Hell Wraiths and obviously Tide Seekers. I think it'd be really nice to flip it on its head and make the Blitzer the sub, and then make the technical hull the equivalent to the Tide Seeker. I think that could be quite interesting. I don't know how they'd work the mechanics on it, but I think that'd be an interesting way so people can just go in and take some damage, as we have been with obviously, sort of Skyfires and those sort of things, but at least then you haven't got to be so finite, because it seems to be harder to group. I don't know why, it's just me maybe, but it seems to be harder to group and then drive finally a set of submarines with such a short range torpedo, where you're talking like 88 and that sort of stuff, as opposed to a ship that's got obviously a long range weapon in the 90s to nearly up to 100 sort of stuff. Obviously the arc, when you're sort of kiting, it's harsher, I think. So it'd be nice to turn it the other way around, I think. Make the. I don't know what they're going to do. I have no idea. I've got no hint at all. And at this stage, I don't really want any. But I just think it'd be nice to spin it on its head for a change. Just something different.
I can see the sub being the kind of thing that you charge and it takes damage and then releases, say, a stun burst to knock the enemy ships out for a while, so you can damage them without taking more damage in return.
So a little bit like, obviously, the electric eel that was in the previous but one Scourge, well, the very first Scourge campaign, and obviously, our super nice, our own mega ship that we've got, which will go in and obviously, it'll stun stuff when it gets to a certain sort of range, won't it? Which is about surfaces from deep dive.
Or like the Skyfire carrier, which releases a stun blast as it takes damage.
Yeah,
well,
that's another option.
Another question that I have is it time for a temporary thermal braking device?
Ooh.
Oh God, no.
Maybe against PvE, but not against PvP. For God's sake, no. That causes
They have to be limited to. They have to be limited to like skirmish and generalist hulls.
Yeah, but think they always have a habit of breaking it just when you think they've got it fixed, and they do it intentionally. So, it would be nice to have something that could bypass, not permanently, but temporarily, the thermal to get past a ship, set in a quarter, take a little damage, then move on in.
Doesn't pinching remove thermal?
There's always been a question about that. I don't know for certain.
Pinching, well, it definitely removes obviously the capability of sonar, but I can't remember.
I don't think it does thermal. I think it just removes the sonar. Yes.
Okay.
It's been that long since I've tested that sort of concept that I don't know. I used to love going in, obviously, my ghost crawler and just taking out people's guards, but then just leaving the base alone for somebody else. But I don't tend to do that anymore.
Yeah, but if you think about it, the boats that people are using in their guards are pretty much immune to the torpedoes at this point, as far as the massive quick kill damage. So they'll sit there and fire. So it would be okay to clear the thermal for a little bit, as long as the boats just don't evaporate.
Yeah, there's plenty of options, or like as you said, the boat, when it takes so much damage, goes into deep dive, and it deep dives, and you can get away, all that sort of stuff. There's options, isn't there? I like the electric eel concept, because those things were a real pain, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
That raid was about, everyone was like that. We had then obviously was we had rhinos, didn't we? And then what we were using for a flag, I can't remember. What were we using to detect them? Something.
Interceptors, I think.
Yeah, that was the one. Yeah, or intercept. Yeah, and that thing was a real pain in the bum when it first turned up, and we're like, "What's this sub? It's taking everybody out." You got stunned, it just crept up on you, and then you just got wiped. So,
well, do you remember the Kraken that we used to face?
Yeah,
yeah.
And I actually ran at one of those, because I never finished that campaign. I actually ran it the other day with some of the newer stuff. It was quite comical. The Kraken didn't last 5 seconds, but
no.
I did a mastery round of Snowfall myself a while back. I think I used Tide Seekers for the Kraken, and it was just like, it surfaced worse. The Tide Seekers were right on top of it, and down to the bottom of the ocean with you.
Yeah, it was gone. Hey, Ian's in. How you doing, mate? It's Derpy.
Hey, yo.
How's things, mate? Yeah, so we're just chewing the fat at the moment, mate, to be honest. So we're just talking about TLCs at the moment. And like I said, so defensive arts, I think it's really nice. I think the fact that, they're giving you, it is only 3 of each, isn't it? I think is it 3 corrosive, 3...
it's 3 missile, 4 corrosive, 5 explosive.
3, 4, 5. Right, okay. Yeah. So I suppose I think that's the right order, don't you? Because the one that a lot of people were struggling to get hold of, I think, was the corrosive one. So at least you're going to have at least be able to put 1 on each of your if you haven't got the flag, obviously, 1 of each of your ships to go into the raid sort of stuff. And if you've been able to get the flag, you've probably been able to get some charge armor. But at least this way you'll be able to get something. And then the ones that aren't quite so important in this current raid format, they put lost. So that's 5. So that's 1 per ship, isn't it, for next time round? Which is quite decent. I mean, obviously there are other places to get the X. You know, it was in the Call to Arms icebreaker, which is also still available. I do believe because that was a 2-weeker as well, wasn't it? So
yeah,
you can get 3 more in there.
Yeah, so that's
you got
another
three
option.
more, I think, of the C1M actually, the missile charged armor.
Oh, they changed it. That's right, didn't they? They flipped it. It was the X, and then they flipped it across.
Because a lot of people wanted M to help deal with the executioner missiles and the FM targets.
Okay, well, there's logic in that. Then why make an M obviously the first one with only 3 to get it in defensive arts? Then because you can get some in the first bit of the icebreaker, and the first bit of the icebreaker, you use your FM fleet, the old one, in fact. When it used to be Punishers and Citadels. That works fine.
I wasn't aware that the executioners went back to penetrative damage. As far as I knew,
executioners have always been penetrative damage. They're missiles.
No, they do explosive.
I think it
maybe a bit of both, but maybe the NPC ones do a bit of both.
Yeah,
that's a possibility. But the ones I have in my base, they're straight penetrative.
And that's the PvP.
Yeah, in the PvE environment, they can choose what they want to put on these darn things.
And in all the targets I've noticed, in the last raid cycle, the Garrison raid cycle, it was explosive that we found out the hard way.
Yeah.
The rhinos do the penetrative damage.
Yeah, so I was thinking, I mean, I went through it and did, like I said, I used my Punisher and my Citadels to go through the first level of the Icebreaker campaign because it was the older targets, so I was quite content with that. That seemed to work quite well, to be honest. And then I just got bored, so I used my icebreakers to do the icebreaker campaign, which is probably a bit wrong, but I get bored very quickly, so that's just the way I am. Kixie love my frustration because it means I'm spending coins, so I'm just one of those sort of people. Especially on streaming as well, because I don't want to bore people by sitting there fixing things. So anyway, so that's good. So Call to Arms, obviously Icebreakers in there. The one that I'm not so sure why it's come back, maybe people still want it, I don't know, is the Call to Arms Monolith. Is there anybody in the chat or anybody in the forum or actually it's on live now on mic that really still needs that one?
I don't think we need it.
No, I mean, the only thing that really would have interested me from that is the D85D and the precision napalm stuff, and I already have those.
Which is in round 1, isn't it? So you jump past that round, obviously, if you've already got those.
Right.
If you were to do it.
The one thing that I've learned, don't pass up the opportunity to get free tokens because you never know what they have planned for the future.
Yeah, no, true. That's a fair point, actually, because I mean, I have got like 55, I think, stacked up or something like that, so I could probably build 5 new hulls if I wanted to. But, the flagship I've just sat out the way. I don't use it anymore. I use a really good Zealous build that I've got, and I'm content with it. Unless they end up stepping up. That's a fair point, Ron, because sometimes, although the current FM targets are what they are, I remember in the last cycle, they refreshed the 85, didn't they, and made it something different. And then there was a bit of an uproar for a couple of weeks again, wasn't it? So, maybe they're going to do something and surprise us when OP10 comes in eventually, fairly soon.
I think they should run this campaign time to time because, there are people coming back to play. Some people are trying to catch up. And
absolutely.
Very important for the FM.
Absolutely, I agree completely.
It's no loss to have it there, is it? It's no loss to have it there. Put it that way.
Yeah, I think personally it should be made a permanent campaign.
Permanent, right?
As opposed to
I think these things are right. Yeah, jump them across to the to your actual tower, so you can actually go in and jump and do where you want to, sort of stuff. But once it's done, sort of stuff, Yeah, no, I agree. I think that'd be a really good idea. The other one next, obviously, the Forever. Obviously, we're going to get there's a turret in there. That's for the Gluttony. That's where you'll find that one there. And obviously, there's a lot of if you haven't got them already, there's an awful lot of build tokens there for buildings. You can't stack them all, but there's a lot there. Some unusual ones, the 5-day ones there, the 12-day ones there, quite a lot of the 2-dayers, and some single days, which obviously if you've done your FM round twice, at least to to sort of like, price pack free, you'd have to spend the previous ones. But
as you stated,
hard, is it?
the 5-day, you can't stack those, so you need to win one and spend one so that you can keep gathering them.
But if you haven't built your portal, it's a good way of, if you've used up all your base parts to half build it, you can finish it off by completing that campaign, can't you?
Absolutely. Well, that's kind of the way that I've been working the builds on the stuff in the base, and it's not rocket science. You go in, see how many base parts you got, and then plan it to where you use enough base parts to make full use of the 5-day instead of wasting any of it.
Yeah. Has anybody else been sort of applying that theory?
Yep, I got one
I'm gonna
done
save
and
the.
start
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think it's a really good and well-timed. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that still even got their turrets done yet. To be honest, I know people in my alliance that haven't got all their turrets finished off, sort of. So it's a nice one to jump through. And like you said, base parts are as much as you can, and then particularly the bigger items. It's really good to finish it off by that sort of campaign. So I quite like that TLC being in there. Clearly, a 1 to 3 is Conquerors. Sorry, yeah, it is. It's bases, isn't it? And most of it is the same sort of stuff as if you had prides. And in fact, Ren did a video, I think, from all the current TLC for that one there. I think he did one. And all the runs, yeah, he was using a single pride to go in and killing all the turrets and that sort of stuff, and then jumping back out and then going back in with a spite and some bends, I think it was, to take out the fleet sort of stuff. So I think he did it pretty cheap, to be honest. I don't think he had to repair the fleet during it. So there are options. I mean, anyway,
Yeah,
there's
I just used 4 prides, only sent in 1 at a time on the later ones, and then Siege is the 5 through 7, 5 through 8, whatever. Cannoneers,
that's the old Scourge stuff, isn't
probably
it?
be your own thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you done a video on your page, Derpy, have you?
I've just done 1 through 3 with Brad so far. I'm going to try to do others, but I got a lot of lag in those Scourge targets, which is a whole other topic.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Something's gone wrong with this. I mean, we can jump to that now if you want to. What the hell has gone wrong with collecting base parts and Scourge targets? What is happening with this lag? In this 52s, which is what I like to do on auto. I don't even go in and acknowledge and do, because it's nice to start them off quick because they're only up for half an hour, aren't they? So,
well, I think personally it's the pop-up technique, the pop-up mechanism that they've got, because that's where you see that the boats stop. Is they wait for them to draw the objects in there before your boats move. So your boats move a 1/16 of an inch, something pops up. Your boats move another 1/16 of an inch, something pops up. And that's on our screens, but in real time on their computers, it seems like it's driving into range to be killed. Or
we never had that in the raid, did we? So is it because
I did?
There's more stuff now?
We did.
I had
we had the same thing in the raid too.
Yes.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, definitely. It's crazy in raid too.
Yes,
I saw it happening too.
I got the tickets.
Yeah, it wasn't.
For the.
It wasn't this bad though.
They kind of talked. They kind of
it
tapped
was
into
pretty
it
much.
They kind of tapped into it last night in talking about the video cards, but it's a flash game. It shouldn't take that much power to run it and run it well.
No. I agree with you. Something is definitely, it does need looking at, because it's got a lot worse. And I've actually avoided now going to any of the decent base parts. I mean, everybody's been chasing base parts of late. It's got crazy, and it'll happen again. Obviously, once OP10 does come.
You can still do the Scourge raids, 81s or what it's called, for free. It's easy, even with lag. You just need the path.
Yeah, but it's like I like to auto the 91s. I like to auto the 52s. 91s for obviously titanium, and then auto the 52s for obviously with cannoneers.
You're a lazy bugger.
I am an inherently lazy bastard. You're right. But the point is, you go into that target. There's so much lag, and I don't know. I've noticed it. Right, if I go into the target and press start, and then I watch the target taken down by my cannoneers, my lead cannoneer will take damage. If I don't go in the target at all, I don't take any damage.
Well, almost the indication that it's the way they're drawing it is if you'll watch whenever you're clicking a path for the entire fleet, you'll see that the boats split off in different directions at some points when they should follow the same exact path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's almost got to be like draw, stop, draw, stop.
But in certain targets, with the big towers, you don't want to be doing stop, do you? It's just.
Well, you try not to, but they force you to because of the lag.
I've just seen the cuts in on chat as well. There, he's just saying he's on the Forever TLC, and he's getting crazy lag in that as well.
I
so
think
at the back end,
there are a couple issues with these. You have the 3D projection or whatever. where you click might be where a land tile is, but you can't tell. And then there's stuff popping up, so it's more of an issue. And then your ships aren't perfectly stacked, so they're separating more. And there's just so many variables there. It's really hard for anyone to decide your connection, kick size connection. What's the problem?
And that's
need to be so much more simple.
That's what Kickstarter want to tell you is your connection problem. It's not the game problem. It's a connection
the thing
problem.
Is,
that's what they want to say, but it's a fucking sorry, my language. It's a coding issue. Because the pop-ups and everything times the flash games and every stuff, if it work like in your base, simple thing in your base, all the stuff is moving around in your base, you know. If you click out, if you put your mouse and go on to the water in your base, you can hear your spinning wheel on the computer, whatever. It's slowing down. Every time you move up to the moving parts, it's going bad. That's a flash game. Every moving part creates lag, and you know what?
Well, I mean, that's how it is for any game. The more things you have to put on a screen or draw at one time, the more lag you're going to get. That's how games work.
The moving parts getting worse, getting more worse to the game. The moving parts, if it's just still, like still picture, doesn't matter. It's not that worse.
Well, the way that I try to combat it myself is whenever you're going through, I try to kill the big tower first. That way you can stop wherever you want and let it draw and then move. But if you're trying to move and hit a target at the same time and avoid the big weapon, yeah, you're going to die. You're going to get stuck somewhere and get shot.
Yeah, frustrating. So they're going to have to look at that one because clearly that's our base parts for some time. And some of the targets I know people are absolutely avoiding at the plague because it's just, you know, it's supposed to be a routine chore just to go and get routine stuff to go. You should be taking large amounts of damage. So it needs to be adjusted or some of that or reworked or move on. Move on early. Get rid of those scourge targets and move on to something else if you have to. I'm sure that people won't mind.
Like Ron said, and I can concur to that, like the raid, it's the same issue. Because I put in tickets and wrote about it, and I said to them, we got the issue about the popping up. The lag is getting worse. Every time it's going to pop up. You can see the fleet and all that crap. It's going.
Yeah.
Another story.
Well, it is. No, but it's a concurrent issue that's going on, you know, and that sort of stuff. I notice that if you put tickets in for certain things, and they look for volume before they start looking at responses sometimes, you know, but sometimes it's just white noise. It's the woods for the trees sort of stuff, i.e. you can't see the trees for the wood because there's so much going on. So and you have to be really, really specific. I've taken to stop taking photographs now and start taking videos, and my tickets are getting answered. Although CM, I think the customer services is a bit better than it has been. In fact, it's definitely in the last couple of months, it's definitely better. Yeah, I think it has been in the last couple of months. I think they're taking more of an interest, or they're trying to retain their people, so they themselves get a bit more knowledge, or they're getting fed a bit more information. Not quite sure what it is. They just seem to have a little bit more knowledge, and it's not the routine go check your computer moment. You know, I haven't had that. I've had some examples offered to me of things that would fix the problem, but they're player-related issues and not PC tech-related issues. So I'm quite content to go, yeah, I understand that, and I've tried that. And they'll go, okay, well, thanks for trying it. We'll pass it across, or we'll take it up, or, you know, I mean, one of mine, I had the old one of, you know, when you put your base ships in, that sort of stuff, and it's slightly too close to the island, then someone comes in to hit you and it moves itself within the base somewhere else. That hasn't come up for a long time, but I've had that this week twice. So yeah, just little things like that. But
the thing I hate about the Q&A is that every time that, okay, if you don't have the technical problem, give me a bloody video all the fucking time.
You can't video everything though, that's the problem. So if I can replicate an issue, I'll go replicate it. But yeah, you can't just have a video running in the background, or tell me another game that makes you do that. It's just
stupid, man.
But let's be fair, if you go onto the forum and somebody says, "Oh, I found this thing here and Q&A helped me and that sort of stuff, and give me 60 coin," I guarantee you, pirates being pirates, another 100 tickets will go in saying, "Oh, I've had the same problem." You know, and is it like saying I've got back pain? You try and prove it. You try and prove I haven't got it.
But listen, mate, you know, Mark, they got a bloody huge lock on every player. Otherwise, they can't catch the bloody everything. They can't catch people. If they don't have the lock, they can't work out how we play the game. So they have a lock every time they do something.
Okay, so I'm taking it, looking at what I've just happened here, because something random's just happened. Oh no, I'm just having a look for the TLCs at the moment. We've got another one still, haven't we? So we talked about Forever, we've talked about High Tide, we've talked about the Call to Arms versions. Skyfire. Has anybody actually had a second stab at Skyfire or felt the need to? I think it was quite painful last time.
I did it, because...
Yeah, I'm probably going to take a stab at it after I finish my second FM run through.
Okay, so Brian's done a bit of it, and then obviously Peter's gonna do some of it. So let's have a little chat on that one. How did you find it, Ryan?
Well, the first two ones are easy. The third one, I said screw it and used a BB crew. I don't care if they're going to cheat with the rest of this. Yeah, if they're going to cheat with the rest of this crap, I'm going to cheat them there. So used a BB crew, ran through with icebreakers, did not care, got 10 days of tokens and VXP, whatever. Finished up my fleet basically for free because 3 sets, it's been offered 3 times, and there's 12 days each time. That's 36 days. So I build 4 of them. They're about 10 days each, so I only needed 4 days to build a Skyfire fleet. And ranking them was easy. That they're meant to rank on these targets. For VXP weekend, so I went out and did that. That was also easy. I spent time building the flag, but whatever. I heard that it was less damaging on the last prize pack, and I found that to be the case as well, even though I'm highly biased because BB crew. But it was easier than before. I don't know if it's easy enough, but it was easier.
They did scale it down.
Well, have they? Because it wasn't much fun when I did it. I must admit the first time. I've not been back to it since. But I thought it was quite interesting. I didn't have any charge arms at the time when I did it and that sort of stuff. But yeah, I thought it was quite painful. I think on the last run.
Yeah, it was than the first one.
Okay, good. Well, maybe they have toned it down a little bit. I'm not really sure, to be honest. I'm not going to go back and do it myself. I've built Skyfires. They're all ranked. I'm not. Now I can see why it's there. It's nice to there because obviously there was in the FM. There's the new UAV and that sort of stuff, and there's a new special to give you another chain and that stuff if you wish to put it on. And there are ways of getting around it if you've got ranked ships, so you can add those things on. But me personally, being the lazy pirate as everybody knows I am, all I did was change the special to bring in a bit more extra corrosive protection. The one that's got twin corrosive and penetrative protection on it, and that's the only thing I changed, and that just happened overnight. So I didn't do anything else, to be honest. I was proper lazy. It's not my preferred raid fleet. I prefer to use my Phoenixes. So, but that's just me.
Phoenixes are fun. Phoenixes are real fun.
Only because of the speed. Because it's like it's a bit dull. So
yeah,
but they're great fun to use. I have to say, I was on the stream this morning using my Skyfires to nip through and do a campaign. I can't remember which one I did. Oh, High Tide, that was it. I did the High Tide one. So yeah, we can talk about that. So High Tide, I mean that's here now, isn't it? So going back through for people that have never had Tide Seekers, I'm sure there's people that haven't got them and that sort of stuff. New people that have either come into the game late and didn't have them last time, or people that may want to refit, because I don't think that the chosen weapon that they give you out for them is necessarily the best weapon.
So talk about it. Expound.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've seen. Well, I mean, he's not in the game anymore. Nines used to have a really good fleet, didn't he? And it was Calamity Scatters, I believe, wasn't it? He was using.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And single shotting everything, basically. Letting them recharge and then zipping forward and then one shotting a lot of the targets. Whereas Garwoods are great, and I've got Garwoods on mine, but only once they're revved up. So
I put Calamities on mine from the very beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I was always there the Twister Torp and the Hellfire and the Hellrape sort of stuff. So I've never really bothered too much
Yeah,
about
mine
them.
still
But
have concussive reciprocators on them.
oh, really? Low range as well. Then that was the only thing with the concussive reciprocator, isn't it? Is the range. So
Yeah.
I think in the order, because obviously it's limited what you can put on, I'd say reciprocators and then Garwoods and then probably Calamities. Would you agree with that?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I like my
thing-
Mayhems on there.
Oh, Mayhem
thing-
swaps. Yeah. Sorry, go on. Ian.
It's okay.
Oh, right. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, go on. Somebody go.
Yeah, high tide exists. You can swap out your stuff. If you're really, really lazy, you might want to wait and see what new torp they have coming out. But that's real easy. That's real fun to do with Skyfires too, because you just see them going ping, 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 and just killing everything from so far away. I did that for not a whole lot of time or caring.
That is definitely fun.
Yeah, it is. I was doing that this morning. I was like, you know, like in the 91s when you get all the towers and that sort of stuff on those peripheral 4 islands, I was waiting for one of the ships to come round, and then just as it came round, it was in the connective range, obviously, of the chain. So just clipping the ship and then let it go and whip off all the turrets and that sort of stuff. You know, so yeah, it was just more. I was just having a laugh this morning, just basically chewing the fat with some guys, and then not necessarily doing it the quickest way, but just messing about in the target really, which was a nice position to be in for a change. Yeah, it was quite good. But I like the fact that, you know, there are options there. There's not a huge amount of build tokens in total, but there's enough there to do a couple of refits and that sort of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Didn't we see an adjustment to one of the charge armors where you could put it onto an additional ship type?
I'm not sure.
What?
One of them.
Which one?
One of them. I can't remember what it is, but somewhere in the week somebody mentioned on the page. I haven't looked myself because, but I think one of them now has got it can go on 3 different hull types, and it was 2.
What?
Yeah,
Definitely a bug.
Well, because everything, it goes on whatever it's defensive against, and also generalists. So
Yeah.
it's garrison, assault, and generalist for M. X is skirmish, assault, and skirmish, garrison, and generalist. And CO should only be assault and generalist because nothing else protects. Nothing else has CO as a damage type.
CO as a damage type. Yeah. I'm just going to
look in my blueprints in a minute.
Yeah, that's what I'm just doing myself now. Just a quick peek.
Yeah, I just took a look through the Defensive Arts campaign, and I'm not seeing any changes to the armors there. At least not in terms of the hulls they can go on.
Was it maybe the it might be the icebreaker one. I'm not sure. I may just be talking absolute tripe and bugging people. So I'm in the game now. I'm in the limited blueprints. What does it say? Charged armor, C1CO, assault and generalist. Yeah, we do that. Okay, then X, skirmish, garrison, and generalist. M,
I'll bet what they did is added
assault, garrison, and generalist.
Matches up just fine.
Yeah, that works, doesn't it?
That's what I was seeing too.
Good. Okay, then. All right, then. Scratch that. Good. Darn.
Somebody wanted it. Somebody wanted to put it on their Conquerors, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's might have been the case, to be honest. Somebody mentioned something in the forum, you know, on the TFC page, and I didn't answer to it. Some other people, I like the page at the moment. It's doing very well. You know, comments coming up, and there's an awful lot of people now putting some real good. You know, it's a self-moderating, self-filtered thing at the moment. So it's, you know, and a lot of people are just coming in and going, yeah, I've got my answer now. Can you close it? So it's, you know, it's going very well. Quite pleased.
If you start a thread, you can close your own thread, and it's preferable to after you receive what you feel is a satisfactory answer, because people are either going to come on after and either try to steer you wrong intentionally or not, or just be idiots, and you kind of want to close after you got the right answer, so you can see the right answer and do that.
Well, we'll come on to something about answering threads and stuff like that in a second, because there's another interesting thing that's happened this week, which obviously has been on the pages. But before we do, then it's nice that Imri's in. Titans Unleashed, Imri.
What?
The Mega Hole campaign, Titans Unleashed, the TLC. How's that been? Did you have a go at that? You probably no need to.
Yeah, I've done it in like 12 minutes.
You did the whole thing in 12 minutes?
Yeah.
I hate you.
Yeah,
Well, you should have been, playing with your Mega, hitting people.
No, mate.
Upgrading.
All I've been doing with my Mega is following other people around, helping them with my rages, just going in there and splatting them. So.
Well, I've started using the Mega quite a bit the last 2 weeks or so. And once it reaches level 290 to 300, it becomes almost very self-sufficient.
Really?
Yes.
All right, I should try mine because mine's 298 or something like that.
Well, it's self-sufficient with the drones on there with the.
All right. Yeah, no, I've got
with
drones.
the throwers.
Yeah,
Put
I've
the
got throwers
on.
and I've got drones and that sort of stuff. So I think that it was still quite a hard TLC, and I think it didn't seem those Apollos that were coming in from the sides. They were nasty.
Rockets take care of those.
Didn't for me.
Yeah.
I've got all the toys; they're all just level 1. That's probably my problem. I'm just out of show of hands. So Rom, I know you've got a Mega Hole and that sort of stuff. Peter, have you got one?
Yeah, I've been trying to get enough parts to put a second Congreve rocket on mine, but every time I get them, somebody steals a couple.
Imri turns up. Patrick, have you got one?
Yes, I do.
How's yours doing? Are you in a position where you think it can stand on its own?
Oh, it does okay. It's a 281.
All right. That's not doing too bad then. Okay, you've done some work on it then as well. A bit like me, I sort of like have fits and starts of it. I sort of like get interested for 2 or 3 weeks, and then I go like that. Oh, that's a lot of hard work. So I'll just put it to one side and let its drones do its business and help somebody else out. So yeah, it's good.
Still enough where people can level it pretty easily though.
Yeah, which is generally what happens to mine, to be honest. But yeah, it's there. It backs people up, and that's about it. When we put it obviously up against when we hide the damn things. Mariwinder, what about you, buddy? If you're still there, that is. It was a second ago. Well, how about Hefe? Have you ever built one? Are yours there? I'm never sure.
I do have one barely. I haven't put much into it. It's sort of difficult because I was part of that stage where they sort of gave me to you.
Oh, right.
And at that point, it's sort of like if you try to build any of the components, you can't really defend yourself against anything. So you have to sort of set your timer, even just to do the one to keep the one component around. Spend it as soon as you finish researching it. Yeah. So it is what it is. I wish they would do something to allow, because it's not really all that. I don't want to use the word fair, but it's not. The current setup isn't really conducive for the people that got the Megas at that point in time to advance with them that well.
Yeah, it is interesting. I must admit, there's some bits of the Mega Hole thing that's so biased. It does make a bit of a farce of the whole thing. It doesn't matter what you put on your Mega. Basically, you're going to lose. If you've got 4 people attacking your Mega, that's my feeling on it. Imri's next in line. Would you agree or would you disagree, mate? Can you stand off 4 fleets attacking you?
I don't think so. At this point, if let's say a rage fleet comes into the battle, I'm dead. Nothing that I can do about it.
I mean, yeah, we've been going around with some. I know to take out the other ships is some subs, 2 rage fleets, and then some other random fleet, whatever it is, and then just going around and picking on complete hive sets and taking out as many ships until people sink us, basically. And that's sinking the people that are assisting, not the actual Mega Hole, because the Mega Hole seems to be doing very little, apart from just having to stay alive.
The problem is that once you're in that battle, you can only watch. You can't give any orders to your Mega.
Yeah.
I actually been killed once by someone sniping me from behind after a successful hit, and I was about to win. I've killed everything on board, and I was just down to killing the bridge, and I was like at 97%. And then someone came into the battle, and all of a sudden all my weapons and drones started going after the fleet.
The opposite way. Yeah, that's
Oh
really
my God.
frustrating, isn't it? Yeah.
I agree completely. That's really tough whenever you're sitting there fighting a battle and you have no control. That's
Well,
just
I don't think
counterintuitive.
fighting's the right word. You're sitting there watching automated turrets doing automated things,
Right.
and you can't control any of it.
I think it needs to be changed where you select what turrets on the opposing ship that you're firing at.
You want to fire at?
Yeah, or at least try to drive your drones somewhere, or at least click on a turret where they should go and attack. Maybe.
Yes.
Not drive them. Yeah, go and click on something, and the drone should go to that point.
Exactly.
That would be decent, at
The
least.
amount of fleets in a combat to just 2 fleets. Do you not have like 4 guys come in and basically kill off your mega if you're hitting somebody else?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, we do that all the time. I mean, people come and attack our hive megas and that sort of stuff. And we've always got a couple of fleets out kicking around, and basically try to jump in, and defend, which is the concept. That's the whole idea of it, isn't it? But anyway. Okay, so Mega's interesting. The TLC's out there if you want to do it. Titans Unleashed. I can tell you though, if you've got a mid-level, it's in the 200s and that sort of stuff. It's going to cost you a heap to get through this campaign.
Yeah, I took my baby one. It's like 270 something maybe. I have 3 cannons, 2 mortars on it. I could get through Prize Pack 1 super easily. Prize Pack 2 wrecked me. I think to Prize Pack 2 you need like launchers or throwers on your actual modules to kill the Apollos in there. Otherwise, you're just gonna have a tough time.
You get outranged.
They get strong, don't they? Those Apollos. They get a huge amount of resistance on them. I found. I was pretty sort of like narked how quickly they sort of like managed to take several hits from my drone throwers. So yeah. But anyway. Right, okay, so there you go. Titans Unleashed, all right, it's there for those that want to do it and that sort of stuff. I didn't consider the prize pack was, everything was in there I already had sort of stuff, from a previous time. I just think it escalates very, very rapidly, and I think, I don't know, maybe quite rightly, you've got to have good kit or you've got to pay a little bit to get the stuff at the far end of it. I'm not really sure, to be honest.
The one thing that I didn't like about that was that they changed the tokens to 6 hours instead of days, instead of 1-day tokens, so it made it worse.
Ah, right.
Yeah,
I didn't notice that.
Garbage on their part to do that.
Yeah, that was wrong.
So it's hours now, not days.
Yeah, 6 hours versus 1 day.
Ooh, what if that was meant to happen?
I'm actually under the impression that the whole campaign is actually easier than it used to be. I mean, I managed to get through the whole thing with far less damage than before last month, or the month before. So it looks easier from my perspective. And I've got an alliance mate who couldn't get his hands on the drone module before, and now he could actually earn it. So
okay.
I think there's some improvement there.
Okay, so it's a tale of two stories basically, which is always a good thing because that's the nature of battle pirates. It's a pain in the ass for some people, and other people go, I didn't have an issue. That's the way it is. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 potential total TLCs that you can or cannot take part in. Does that make sense?
Right. Let me see here.
It's a lot, but yeah.
That's 2 call to arms, Titans, Skyfires, Forever, High Tide, and Defensive Art.
I don't think Titans is still around.
I think it's just finished. Is it finished just this week? It was on this. It was the start of the week because I did it this week, I think.
I think it was just a 1 week thing, not 14 days.
Yeah.
It's a bit like the. I'm being cautious with Defensive Arts because I think that's only around till tomorrow now, isn't it? And it's done.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, another 1 day and 9 hours. Thereabouts.
Yeah. Okay. So if you want to go and get that done, I suggest you do it before obviously you finish. It'll be done by tomorrow night. So our time anyway. But good. Okay. So we were talking about helping and assisting and that sort of stuff, weren't we, on the forums? So we'll talk about it because there's been a CM message about it now, and there has been some messages on the pages. I'm not just saying our page because everybody thought it was a spam mail to start with. So there's an introduction of an idea that's come out from the QA guys, and that's basically to have regular attenders, mid-level players, but not high coiners, just remember those caveats, to be offered to become some form of assistance to players where questions can be posed, and those individuals that respond with an answer, the answer is then not only enjoyed but actually solves the problem, can be a bit like doing reviews, probably liked or agreed to or something like that, and then from there that person's reputation either goes up or they get a small reward for their assistance. Discuss. What do you think? Does that make sense? What I just said?
Mid-level players are getting picked to be the helpers?
Yes.
Sorry.
So if you haven't noticed it, this week basically it's on a couple of our pages and that sort of stuff, and actually I'm trying to look actually where it is on the forums because it has been mentioned by the CM as well. Okay, so basically I'm trying to find exactly where it is because I can share the screen, but at the moment I can't find it.
I'm a bit confused as to mid-level players being asked to be helpers because this game is really complex, and if a mid-level player hasn't been around for a while, because there's just
let's pause it. Let's pause a bit. Right. Ian's found it. So if you found the actual bit from our community manager review,
almost.
Yeah, it's definitely there. He did a little. So let's just say okay. So a couple of people got emails, okay, and emails direct to them straight from, with no announcement about anything happening at all, straight into their inbox saying, hey, do you want to come and assist us with this? Now, that was posted on our page rapidly on the TFC. And I know a couple of us as well going, I think I've just been hacked. I think I've been getting spam mail. This can't be right. No one's mentioned anything in the game. There was nothing in the update. Does anybody know about this? Let me just share what we've got here. There we go.
Yeah.
So there we go. If you haven't seen it before, okay. So there's Rampage's little. Bear in mind, this was about 3 days after the first emails went out, and we were actually going to mention something on our live show, but we chose not to. But then this came out subsequent to that. So there you go. I'll give you a chance to read that there. So maybe some people aren't aware of this, but basically that's the thing. So there's a new program allowing, it says expert players there. Okay, I don't know what you term expert, because I've already known a couple of people that have been had this offered to them, and they've come to me because they didn't think it was genuine. So, but it's also, some people are getting this because they still have their radio tower up and running, but they left the game over a year ago. So it's not necessarily they're looking at live people.
Stupid, man. Sorry.
Well, let's tone it a different way. But yes, it's not uncommon in the gaming industry, though. Okay. So whether this is something Rampage is bringing from another genre, I don't know. I don't know who's leading on it. Well, I sort of do know who's leading on it, but I won't mention it here. But it's interesting. So players helping players, and for those players helping those players, they may get some sort of reward for doing so, or just the acknowledgement of they are helping people, which is basically how we run TFC.
So they're talking about mercenaries. Then.
I don't know what they're talking about there.
Bloody hell, they do.
No, I think it's about assistance with not with doing things in the game, but I've got a problem with this item. I don't know how to put this onto this. Why can't I turn my portal 90 degrees? There's an example. If somebody manages to resolve that issue for them, then
how does remote targeting work?
Well, we got the page. We got the TFC.
How do you mine for fish?
I mean,
we have got the TFC, and I'm not going to blow our own trumpets and that sort of stuff, and I love our community because they do basically do this, but clearly it's a bit like Huggies, which we all know is fantastic, and then Kixeye within the game, okay, bring in their own shipbuilder inside the game. It doesn't do a fleet, it does a single ship, and this is the same sort of thing, is it not? They're trying to then, from their own, Rampage did say he was going to try and clear up the forums on the page, and I think it has got a lot better. Some of the moderators have got better, but not all. Where they're saying, rather than just adding extra spam to their own forum, they're actually going, the line's been now, this has been moderated and bringing things back online rather than just closing them and that sort of stuff. There's a lot less getting closed. But I think now they're just trying to bring in some people to answer some questions that are just players answering questions for players. Although the moderators are players, I know, but they've been here for a long time now. So, don't know.
I'm sure the volume of questions asked by players is greater than the handful of moderators they have can answer. And maybe some people that are asking questions don't even know about the forums. They just ask in sector comms. I'm playing a game right now where they had something like that. Some sort of new player helper, basically. You could apply for a position to be a new player helper. They put their own fancy title to it. But basically, a new player comes in, and if they wanted help, you could be assigned to them to kind of answer their questions and maybe help them out a little bit doing the actual quests. It's a little different from here because, you know, actual help within the game as opposed to just answering questions, but there's certainly a precedent for it. And if they can entice the players to answer, the experts, with gold, which costs them basically nothing to implement, they could reduce the strain on their moderators and help out the players that have questions and help out the experts that wish to answer by giving them these rewards. So I think it's going to be beneficial for all, especially because they just need to, I feel like they need to pick their experts carefully because there's a lot of very complex things within this game. And a lot of the information isn't even on the forums anymore. Like all PvE targets bypass all deflections, all specific damage type deflections, like ballistic deflection, corrosive deflection. This matters because of the radio plates you can put on any ship. That radioactive deflection is useless. But how are you ever going to know that? It's not on the forums anymore. It's not in the game, certainly. And you can put it on your ships. Any ship. So it makes sense that once you know what deflection is, you could say, oh, yeah, I can just go forth. But there's no way to know that that's not the case. And hopefully these players will be able to answer that.
So
but even if you just joined within the past year, you wouldn't know that. So you gotta be careful.
So my point is, what I'd like personally is if these people, I mean, it says expert players and that sort of stuff, that's fine. It doesn't, it's not to do with, you know, because if you're a non-coin, it's got nothing to do with rank. It's nothing to do with having the latest fleets. A lot of people can want to have the latest fleets, they just can't afford to have them, so they just trundle along in their own merry way and do very well for themselves at the level they want to play at. So it's not just about having the latest and greatest. It's knowing and understanding the mechanics of the game, as you said. But I'd like to some sort of interaction between these new players, like I'm sure the mods do, so that there becomes a sort of question bank and they collectively then come up with the answer. The only thing I'm a bit concerned of, personally, if there is any sort of financial reward to the individual over and above the fact that, you know, his Trivago score rating, for example, is 65% and another guy's is 99%, you know, then you're going to probably want to ask the guy that's got 99% hit rate of positive responses, you know, than the guy that's got 65%. But they don't collate the information gathering between them, because by the fact the guy's got a 99% hit rate, he is getting something more beneficial as a kickback from kicks here. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but what would entice him to keep doing it? And what's going to entice him to do it in the first place? I don't know. I've not been sent an email, but I'm just thinking, so my worry is misinformation as well.
I don't understand the whole concept about it, about this thing, because it's like saying we don't know jack shit. We need players' help to teach the new players. You know what I mean? Is it some sort of, or they want to, like you said, generate more money or something?
I'm not sure. I don't. You know, it's not for me to question their motives. The motives is they're going to bring this back into onto the forums and bring it back into their realm, which is fine. It doesn't bother me in the slightest.
No. But it's a funny way to. Yeah.
Well, I don't know how it's introduced. It may happen in other games. I don't play any other games, so I don't really know. But I know it is out there because somebody's already spoke to me about it. Went, yeah, this is quite common now that they get the players to have some sort of self self-assessment on themselves and help each other out.
Yeah, and if there's a player that likes the game and believes in the game and wants it to be a good game, they'll help out purely out of altruism, and they'll be able to get rewarded for their help now. Yes, games want new players to get money. Duh. You know, that's the thing. I'm not sure exactly what they're doing to get new players. This game seems pretty new player unfriendly, and it hasn't updated its tutorials in a while, which might be another reason they're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I asked a sample question of what does remote targeting do? How does it work? Because I don't think there's any way, like there's simple videos, but it's not about remote targeting. And you see a circle and a yellow circle, and what's this yellow circle? And why am I not firing? You know, it's not easy, but if another player came in and explained it, Kix would save money on making those tutorials, and the player would have the question answered, and they could just give the player the money to the expert.
So to get to the bottom of that answer is a bit like, and I'll use, because his analogy I think you'll probably agree with, is George. George may not be a super coiner, but his understanding of the game is pretty decent.
Yeah.
He explains retargeting on one of his blogs and that sort of stuff and how it works. And also Ren is another one who also explained, you know, Splash, and how Splash works, you know, and that sort of stuff, and Splash fields. You know, but that takes up a lot of people's time. Now we are a very small band, you know, and Hefe's here as well, so he's got his band as well, and you know the guys over on the BV, and there are a couple of other pages as well, you know. But out of the tens of thousands, we're still only a small amount, and I do understand that even though we've got nearly 14,000 people on our page, it's still only a percentage of the population. When I go around from world to world and I go, oh yeah, that was on the page, and they go, what page are you talking about? You know, or yeah, that was in the release notes, and they still go, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. What release notes? What are release notes? So there's still a huge community out there that doesn't have access to Facebook, maybe not huge access to Facebook, but don't follow any of the pages, and probably don't even go on the forum. So maybe if they're going to get to access these people, it's going to be interesting how they're going to sell that to the community so everybody knows these people are available to be used as well.
I mean, maybe there could just be a command in game. I don't know, /expert question.
And it goes to somebody. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
it needs to be in game if it's going to be done well. It'll need to be something in the game. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, some new messenger style of thing maybe. We
don't
really
take out the one that says world chat, you know, or international chat, or whatever it says. So something about chat, isn't it? Where the function never worked. What's the one where the one where it sort of does translation? That button never worked. Put that as an expert question place instead, and then somebody that happens to be on it, so that's one of the experts. He comes up with an answer, sort of stuff. His percentage of positive responses is up next to him, and you can choose whether to accept his answer or not. Because if he makes a wrong selection, and you end up building something that's a real guffer, what happens then when you've lost either coin or time? Don't know.
Yeah, there's going to need to be definitely some post results feedback, for lack of a better term, because yeah, I mean, and it could just, even if it's an honest mistake, you go out and it takes you a few days to build the thing and do the thing, and it's like, well, that didn't work, and you should still have some recourse if that's the case.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Is anybody else they want to say on it? I mean, there's quite a lot of bit in chat there, and it's very similar to what we were saying. You know, there are plenty of people already offering plenty of advice for free. Derpy's streams are excellent and that sort of stuff. You know, Ren does his sort of stuff. You know, God, Jeff Price has been streaming for years. You know, there is plenty of people out there, and I've seen, you know, hundreds of players doing bits and bobs. All you got to do is go on YouTube and type BP, you know, or a target number, and then there's stacks of stuff out there. You know, but does anybody else want to expand on any of those points, or got anything fresh on it?
I'll log in and I'll see 50,000 players playing. I'm not sure if that's just Kixeye side or just Bob Pirates on Kixeye, whatever. But a lot of people, like you said, don't know what the release notes is, don't know what's on the forums. And the least they could do is to get everyone on their own official site. I'm not asking them to link to TFC or BV or my channel or Ren's channel or something like that. Just after the weekly update, have a pop-up that says, okay, we added this, this, and this. Read more about it on our forums here in 72-point font with a link directly to the release notes. so everyone can like be informed and find that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and you know what? Whether they play on Armor Games or whether they play on whatever it is, it hasn't got to be on BP.com and that sort of stuff, on the Kickside.com thing. But at least they can go to that forum for that release note, and it's just open. It's just open. Or, they don't have to do a video of it and that sort of stuff. But at least it's there. That's one of the reasons. For our page, I don't expect everybody to watch every freaking program that we put up, but at least I try to put a PDF version of the slides up. Because at least the weekly content's in there. It's just another way of getting to it, sort of stuff. There are many ways of getting the information out, so long as the information gets out. But I don't know about this one. I don't know how it's going to work. I'm intrigued myself. Hopefully, it's a positive thing, and I'm sure that clearly they want it to be a positive thing. The mechanics of it, the selection process, as Brian said, will be very interesting. As in chat has been told, there two people have already said now that 2 people have been invited into this. And if it's supposed to be experts, they've left over a year ago. They haven't been back since.
Whoops.
So what are the experts in? How to quit the game? No, I'm being facetious. But
they're experts in saving the most money on BP by spending $0 on BP.
I don't know.
Brian.
Bro, I'm an expert too, except I actually play.
You do. Right. Okay, look, we're up to the hour. So let's have a few minutes and we'll go across the panel and see if anybody else has got anything they want to discuss first. So, Patrick, what about yourself, mate?
Oh, nothing much. I do use my Skyfires for autoing on the A sets during the raid. Because when I'm working, I can't control the fleets very well, but they do auto those 80s really nicely.
Ah.
Then I just go back and repair my gut spill and send them back out.
That's a good way of doing it. I'll talk about that, I must admit. So stepping down one level and then just letting it auto.
Yes.
Okay, there's logic in that. I can see that. That's a good one. Yeah, good tip. Murray, what about you, buddy?
Oh, not much here. Found the TLCs mostly to be pretty decent. I don't know if we've heard anything more about that portal issue or not, but...
we didn't mention the dead portal tonight. I just find that's a frustration. So some people, when they're stacking portals 1 and 2 together, or just number 1, you can kill the portal and you just can't get past it for some reason. And I know there's a couple of the bigger alliances that are taking advantage of that glitch at the moment. It's getting looked at. It's a really complicated one to fix, apparently, but I don't know why, but apparently it is. So enjoy it where it lasts. If you're one of the fortunate ones that gets your portal to glitch, hell, glitches happen in the game. I'm not much of a PvP player, so I don't really care, to be honest. So, it's frustrating.
One portal, the 2 together. Like.
I don't know, mate. To be honest, I know that the bigger alliances, clearly it means a lot to them because obviously that's part of the reason they're playing the game is because it's about kudos and it's all about medals and it's all about the we're better than you sort of stuff. It's playground tactics.
Who knows?
Aren't they exploiting a glitch then if they're taking advantage of that known glitch?
Well, put it this way: if they've just plonked it, if they could adjust the portal and make it happen, then yes, they're exploiting it. The fact they've just plonked it down in their base and it happens to happen.
Well, it happened with Bounty too.
It did as well. But it's not, I've seen some reports of it now, and it seems to be in different places in different bases, and whether they can manufacture it to happen, to be honest, I don't know. I've not looked into it that deep, but I know obviously KixIR.
Before they're exploiting a glitch, I think it would have to be some acknowledgement that it exists from KixIR.
That's a fair comment.
As always.
Yeah, but it is frustrating, and I know the KDEs and the PNLSs of the world, and the Gimps is, and I know that there's murmuring going on, so I'm sure it will get fixed because the big alliances they take that sort of stuff to heart, and I don't blame them because if it is costing them real time money, and they can't get through a base and their fleets are dying and that sort of stuff, and it's 30 odd coins or whatever it is to fix them afterwards through something that shouldn't be happening. That's not right, is it?
No. Never been.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's that. Imri, you got anything you want to say, mate?
No, not really.
It's good to see you back, buddy, by the way.
You guys pretty much explained everything that I wanted to.
Okay, dokie. That's because I never stopped talking, I know. Okay. Hefe, anything for you, mate?
Please, before OP10 comes out, give us a new way to upgrade our walls.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What a great one. Yeah, like and not that it costs like $7 million either. Not that one. I don't like that one where you can upgrade the whole road, but it costs you gazillions of bucks to do it.
Yeah. Oh, it's okay. We've created. You can pay not to do something that is just mind-numbing and whatnot. Because I think to upgrade from 1 to 9, if you started from scratch, it's going to take about 16 hours.
Oh.
If you consider how long it takes to upgrade each step, and that doesn't even include going out and getting the resources, just the physical seat time of pushing that button and waiting for it to time out.
I mean, I hope they don't do another level because what was it, 12 million?
No.
Oh dear
Don't say it.
God.
They'll do it.
Come on.
And you'll have to like hunt for the one little piece in there that's like not leveled up all the way. Needle in a haystack to find the level 8 wall. Ugh.
What if you can only do them by base parts?
Yeah,
and it's 25k each one.
that's what I was going to say. You know, make it available through base parts, but make it reasonable.
We are not legally responsible for what TSM says.
Sorry, I've just been an
You
arse.
forgot the proper way to state that. The mighty TSM.
Oh, is it Mightyful now?
The
Is
man,
it? Okay.
the myth, the legend, TSM,
Mighty
the third
TSM.
Esquire.
Yeah, whatever. Moving on. Okay. Peter, anything you want to close with?
I'm just curious about what kind of particle effects we'll see for the next batch of charged armors.
If there are any, indeed.
Well, given that we've needed charged armors for all the targets so far, I'd be surprised if we didn't need them for the next couple arcs.
Well, these elite things that you don't need to be able to complete something, but for the elite players, it's just another little way of yeah. I remember all that they said a couple of months ago, and now it's like a must-have. Otherwise, this TLC wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
They just consider everyone an elite player now.
Apparently so. Even those that left a year ago. But there we go. Tripod. What about you, mate? Anything to close?
Nah, no, I'm good.
You're happy, mate. Okay. Rum, go on. You can have the last say.
I think we need more land for the bases. The bases are too easy. The
It's
splash
coming.
is too.
It's coming.
Yeah, but how much? 4
I
or
could
5
tempt you,
pieces
but I'm
is
not
gonna
gonna.
be enough. You could what?
I could tempt you with an answer, but I'm not going to.
Your mighty level is falling. Now you're just somewhat average.
Annoying.
Yes.
Oh.
All you guys that know the stuff that we need answers to.
The mighty troll.
The mighty
Hey.
troll. Very
I'm not-
good.
And I self-regulate myself on what I say. So, I've not signed any clauses of any description whatsoever to anybody. So,
Well, but do you think that the limitations that we're faced with on the base are too small for the splash issues that we're looking at?
Mm-hmm.
Muglets.
Well, that's what I mean. The splash issues. Muddle
wait for
Inquisitors,
this new
Mud
slosh.
Bloods.
Let's wait and see what OP10 brings. It'll be an interesting moment when it happens.
Do we have enough build tokens to accommodate OP10?
No, you have to
If you
spend
do
up.
forever, you should.
I've got 21 days worth.
Oh, I've got far more than that. I've got 3 12s. I've got a 5. I've got a stack of 1s, a stack of 2s, and I don't know.
I've
You
got
have to
enough.
stack up.
But
Stack
don't make
up.
it
Well-
70.
Stack up on the TLC.
Yeah, if it's
Right
70
now.
days, we don't have enough.
Nah,
But it's
If
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
in 70 days, we have other problems.
I'll see you.
Well, but don't forget, you got OP10. You're going to have a new dock, and you may have a new shipyard. Plus, you may have
40 tops.
something new coming.
That may not be the case yet. We'll see.
You'll have to upgrade 500 walls plus all your turrets.
You get 100 more walls that you have to bring up from 0 to 10.
mentioning
Oh, God. Thanks, Brian.
Why can't they just say, right, if you've got OP10 done, you get an extra 100 walls already at the top level? That'd be nice.
For free.
And we haven't
We just
drawn
make-
the
we just make
correlation
all you-
between.
Go on, Heavy.
We haven't drawn the correlation of what happened with the dock repair in the bounty. So we just assume that we'll be able to use the tokens to upgrade to OP10.
Very true. Very true. But just because I mean we're still looking for obviously this this second stage repair. I mean they did that second Conqueror fleet fix thing from within our own dock. It didn't quite go so smooth, but if that's the way forward, that's going to be a permanent fixture in OP10, then that needs a little bit of ironing out.
And the one other thing that I wanted to mention was cruise. They told us they were going to be reworking the cruise. We haven't heard anything about that either.
Well, they told me they're going to fix all the glitches in the mega holes as well. Hey, Emery, how's that going?
Oh,
Should I start him off?
They said that they fixed that thing that your drones get damaged after every battle, regardless.
You're just trying to wind him up, aren't you, TSM?
Yeah, I am. Right, wait,
That's
okay.
never been fixed, by the way.
Right, I'll put them on mute anyway. Listen, right, we're on the time. We're doing an after show for those that want to pop in and that sort of stuff, and just chew the fat. Thanks all for coming in. Okay, thanks to those guys on the panel. That was an amusing hour and a bit. I'll just close by saying those that obviously down in the Miami zone and that sort of stuff is obviously gone through the Caribbean. Take care of yourselves. We don't want to lose anybody, and it's serious shit. So batten down the hatches and look after yourself, and hopefully we'll speak to you all next week. So good night. Take care.
Good night.
Good night and good luck.
Good night.